Good afternoon and welcome to News Hour. My name is Ibrahim Samura. Coming up in this edition of News Hour, Ministry of Agriculture holds pre-launch forum on National Tree Planting Campaign 2018. Recent survey shows 62% of lactating mothers do exclusive breastfeeding in Sierra Leone. And 29 anesthetist nurses complete 18-month diploma courses in anesthesia. All these and more line up in this edition of News Hour. To our first story for this edition of News Hour, the Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry has held a press launching meeting on National Tree Planting Campaign 2018 at the Ministry Conference Room U Building, Freetown. This year's theme is Plant Stick for Better You Life. This year's celebration starts next Tuesday, 7th August and will last for a month. Sheila Riffle files in these reports.
Pedro da Sintra gave the name to our country, Sierra Leone, which means Lion Mountain, because of the beautiful mountains and hills. But recently, people are cutting down trees and deforesting the mountains and hills. Sierra Leone, according to reports, is amongst countries prone to disaster and flooding. According to research, deforestation was the major problem which caused the August 14 mudslide and flooding. The Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry has been planting trees in the country since last year. During the pre-launching of the one-month national tree planting campaign, the Minister of Agriculture and Forestry, Mr. Joseph Danema, said that their mandate is to provide food security for Sierra Leoneans, and the importance of the meeting is to ensure sustainable forestry and biodiversity management and conservation of our forest ecosystems. They have 7 priority areas which will form their core investment agenda on agriculture in the next 5 years. One of them is to strengthen sustainable biodiversity conservation and management, including forest development. The minister said he is also aware that the spate of flooding, mudslides and heavy winds is a direct function of the rampant deforestation that has beleaguered this country.
In Amsterdam, Netherlands, the International AIDS Society has just convened the world's largest forum of experts to advance knowledge about HIV, present new research findings, promote global collaboration, and enhance scientific synergy with other health and development sectors. Harold Williams was in attendance and reports.
Such gatherings are intended to galvanize political accountability among governments, donors, the private sector and civil society for an inclusive, sustainable and adequately financed multi-sector response to HIV infections, AIDS, and associated co-infections from hepatitis, cervical cancer, and other causes of death for people infected with HIV. At the adjacent exhibitions of the Global Village, various contributors used creative content to highlight the state of viral responses in their different localities. Sierra Leone's empty booth and absence from this aspect of the conference underlines the challenge to bring the world's attention to this part of West Africa. Within the main body of the conference itself, however, Sierra Leone was officially represented by Dr. Suleiman Lacor, a physician in the Ministry of Health HIV Response Program. Dr. Lacour has been featured in the news for treatment of hepatitis infections of the liver. Dr. Lacour benefited from mentorship by the Journal of the International AIDS Society to design future research and implement further prevention strategies in Sierra Leone.
So much experience in relation to clinical care of HIV, in relation to prevention, human rights issues, as well as activism. I have been to the AIDS Youth Village. I've also been to some other presentations that have to do with pre-exposure prophylaxis. And here in this room, we just attended a meeting on how to submit an abstract. I believe this is what we need as Sierra Leoneans to understand what abstracts that are needed for acceptance into AIDS conferences. Well, not just AIDS conferences, but other conferences as well. So if I have that capacity, I'll provide that form of mentorship for my colleagues, as well as my junior medical students and junior colleagues as well.
Dr. Lacour and other experts like him are now expected to promote human rights-based evidence-informed HIV responses that are tailored to the needs of particularly vulnerable communities. Although the conference shed spotlight on the state of HIV response in Eastern Europe and Central Asia, the southern portion of the African continent remains the epicenter of the viral epidemic. One of the conference objectives challenging Sierra Leone is to highlight the critical role of HIV prevention among young people within the country's entire range of healthcare settings. Sierra Leone's challenges to prevent an increase in new AIDS cases will depend on continuous advocacy to key populations recommended by credible agencies such as UNICEF, including people living with HIV, transgender people, displaced populations, youth and adolescent women, and sex workers. The Ministry of Health and its partners must now address the provision of more access to testing and medication for these categories of people at risk of HIV and AIDS.
Well, back in Sierra Leone, the Director General of the National AIDS HIV Secretariat, Dr. Momodu Sise, has described a report circulating that 1.5 million people are living with HIV as distorted and false information meant to undermine the gains made in the fight against HIV and AIDS in the country. He made this statement during a press conference to respond to the fake news circulating on the social media in Freetown. Joseph Stanley reports.
According to Dr. Sise, the information is untrue and that neither the Ministry of Health and Sanitation nor the Secretariat has at any time released or provided such a figure to that magnitude to any media house. According to the last demographic and health survey conducted in 2013 by Statistics in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and its international partners, the national HIV prevalence rate is 1.5%. This is a population-based study conducted every 5 years.
According to the UN-AIDS projected estimate derived by modeling, it is estimated that 61,000 people are living with HIV in Sierra Leone. Not all of these have been practically tested and found positive. Currently, there are 26,000 people receiving antiretroviral therapy in Sierra Leone.
He added that plans are being put in place to conduct a new demographic survey this year in which HIV will be included, and after that any new data on HIV/AIDS prevalence will be released by the Secretariat.
Although the Secretariat is not complacent with the results as it stands, it is however not in the interest of anyone to give false, unfounded, distorting and alarming figures about the epidemic in the country. This will only create unnecessary panic among the population, making it even more challenging to coordinate the response.
He encouraged Sierra Leoneans that wishes to publish any information regarding the national prevalence of HIV to source the information from credible sources published on the Secretariat's website or the Sierra Leone Demographic Survey Report 2013. Dr. Cissé assured of the Secretariat and its partners' commitment towards the fight against the HIV epidemic. An interactive session formed a part of the ceremony.
More than 60,000 people are living with epilepsy in Sierra Leone. This is according to Professor Radcliffe Lisk, a consultant neurologist of the Epilepsy Association of Sierra Leone. He made this statement during a two-day training on how to treat epilepsy in the country. Mariam Asuma reports.
Is a chronic disorder that is characterized by unprovoked seizures. In Sierra Leone, according to experts, epilepsy is on the increase. Most times, epilepsy is attributed to witchcraft. It is clear that most people living with the disease are facing serious forms of discrimination and are mostly abandoned during attack. At the Congo market, some women still have the belief that epilepsy is a demonic disease, an abandoned patient that is attacked by the disease.
I believe that epilepsy is a transferable disease. When it attacks someone, the person will fall down with saliva. I have seen where it has attacked a person and I ran away because people say it's demonic. I am a fishmonger at Congo markets. I have heard about epilepsy, and when somebody is attacked by the disease, the person will fall down and will start to ooze saliva, which one must not step on it. As for me, I normally run away because I believe it's demonic.
Country Coordinator, Epilepsy Association in Sierra Leone, Max Bangura, said that traditional beliefs about epilepsy are false and negatively affect patients. He frowns at the involvement of traditional healers in the treatment of the disease. Some of the patients explained their ordeals.
I've been 14 years. So they will take me.
Since I was 14, I started experiencing this disease. I traveled to so many places to different herbalists because my parents believed it was traditional. They gave me kerosene to drink and removed all my hair on my head, which affected me seriously. So I'm appealing to parents to take their children to the hospital.
I went for
in the age of 13 years.
Since I was 13, I started experiencing epilepsy, and what I have gone through in the hands of herbalists is too much. They have given me snakes to eat and even asked me to sleep around graves, all in the name of curing the disease. But I thank God for my improvement since I started taking my treatment from the hospital.
Only this makes no money help me. So the more demanding, they're not a talk.
Consultant neurologist Radcliffe Lisk from the Epilepsy Association of Sierra Leone said most people living with epilepsy refuse to go for treatment in the hospital due to traditional beliefs. He said the objective of the workshop is to improve the knowledge and quality of service delivery of caregivers in the management of epilepsy.
Well, epilepsy, as you know, is an illness that, from a traditional point of view, people believe that it's due to witchcraft, it's due to demons. Therefore, people who have epilepsy tend not to go to hospital because they do not feel that it's a medical illness. And of course, the epilepsy that everybody knows is when somebody is attacked, they have fallen to the floor and they start shaking, and they might wet themselves and they become unconscious for periods maybe up to 10-15 minutes and then gradually come out.
Discrimination of patients results to broken marriages, non-completion of schools, drowning, and most times sustained severe burns. SLBC TV, Mariam Asuma reporting.
"29 anesthetists nurses have graduated after completing an 18-month diploma course in anesthesia at the Princess Christian Maternity Hospital, PCMH. The training, which was supported by the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, was aimed at meeting the high demand of anesthetics to strengthen and improve health service delivery in the country. Doreen Barry has more.
Due to the shortage of anesthetist nurses within the health system, an 18-month diploma course was designed by the Health Ministry to close the gap for anesthetic nurses. Anesthesia is a medical discipline which involves the administration of drugs for the abolition of pain, relieve stress and muscle relaxation, whilst minimizing unwanted side effects. However, the 10 batches of trained anesthetist nurses is expected to reduce workload from the few staff on different health facilities in the country. Project coordinator Dr. Michael Koma said that due to the high demand of anesthetists, the Health Ministry initiated a specialized training course to address acute shortage of personnel. He said that having a trained anesthetist will enable the health sector deal with complex operations in hospitals across the country. He said that the gradient expected to improve access to emergency obstetric and neonatal care, reproductive health, and obstetric fistulas. He cited a shortage of essential anesthetic drugs, lack of suitable accommodation for staff, unpublished scheme, and the delay of promotion is key challenges facing the health sector. Chief Nursing and Midwifery, Mrs. Usanatu Kroma, emphasized the need to communicate with patients, which is the basic procedures of nursing. Director of Hospitals and Ambulance Services, Dr. Victor Matlebi, said the training is a stepping stone by the ministry to provide effective care and health services to people. He said amidst the challenges on the minimum drugs and equipment for anesthesia, yet there are centers to provide appropriate surgical and anesthetist personnel.
You are watching News Hour, coming to you live from the Sierra Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. In less than 3 months, the Sierra Association of Journalists, SLAJ, has lost more than 4 of its members. The latest is Reverend Mati Babakwati of Radio Democracy 98.1. Prior to his demise, we are journalists Ibrahim Samura and Suri Sudan Sisi. The late Reverend Mati Kwate carved a niche in the field of journalism through his interest in court reporting, for which he was admired by colleagues, the public, and even legal practitioners. The late Reverend Mati Kwate was born in the early 50s in Freetown to a Ghanaian father. He started his early education in Ghana and later in Freetown. For more on the life of the late man, let's join Rose Konimas Davids.
Matthew Ibrahim Babakwati is amongst 5 renowned media practitioners of recent time that has passed away. His death came as a surprise to many in the media. Matthew Kwate was seen active during the 2018 annual general meeting of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists in July. Mr. Kwate started his journalism career as a proofreader at the Daily Mail newspaper in 1988 and was later promoted to a reporter. He later joined Radio Democracy, where he served as a reporter and was attached to the courts. The late man carved a niche in court reporting. To those whom he had worked with, especially the Radio Democracy family, where he spent 18 years of his life, Matthew was seen to be a fatherly figure. The age gap between him and his colleagues did not stop him from being jovial with the younger folks. To the dedicated listeners of Radio Democracy, Matthew Kwate's voice was almost like an authoritative voice on court reporting.
Justice Komba Kamanda don't sentence one 26-year-old man, Aruna Morikwi, for go jail for 10 years because he been found am guilty say he been do mommy and daddy business with one 80-year-old girl Pekin.
His humility, according to many, was the hallmark of his character. Today, he is no more. Few months ago, he was seen to be hale and hearty, especially when he was opportuned to witness this year's SLAJ annual general meeting in Kenema. He was amongst the newest members to be admitted into the association in 2018. Wani Gauja, a colleague of Matthew at Radio Democracy, said she had fond memories of the late man.
So I appreciate Reverend for that, and I'm going to meet him. Reverend was a friendly person. Reverend was fun to be around with, because whenever Reverend comes around, you know, it's not been long since I started working here, and for all the times I've known Reverend for, he was a respective person, and irrespective of the age, Reverend respected each and every individual.
Michael Sambola and Alex Lawrence Koma, we are impressed with Matthew Kwate's diligence and dedication to his job.
Matthew Kwate has been working for Radio Democracy for about 18 years, and just earlier this year we celebrated his retirement. We did a lot of stuff. We ate together, we cheered him up, we celebrated him.
Come back in the afternoon, write his news. And come back, Papa Alex, have written 2 news, 2 court stories, and have prepared my report. This one is very interesting. Of course, it has to do with XYZ magistrate, and I'm sure you're going to use this one as a headline story, or it's very important for you to use. I'm sure you're going to use this one. Reverend will wait here until 9 p.m. for waiting the bee, until he listens to his story. I will say, Reverend, what are you waiting for? Go home, tune your radio, you will listen to your story. So no, I'll wait. After the program, I'll go.
President of Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, SLAJ, Kelvin Lewis, said Matthew was not just an exemplary character, but one of the happiest men in becoming a SLAJ member.
Reverend, he said prayers when we opened the book of condolence for Sabura long ago. And I jokingly said to him that you're going to become the chaplain of SLAJ. And he walked into that role without any grumble, without any misgivings, any negativity. He just quietly went into the role. During the SLAJ AGM, he said prayers. When we came back to Freetown, and we had to open a book of condolence for Ayosfore. Last Tuesday, this was last Tuesday, he was the one who said prayers there.
Kelvin Lewis therefore noted that people generally should do regular medical checkups to avoid sudden attacks, especially as the profession itself is full of stress.
As far as the profession is concerned, except Samura, who inadvertently died in the line of duty, all the others, S.U. Tronka, it was 2 vehicular accidents. Frank Osoa was 2 vehicular accidents. Pius was a medical condition. Reverend too was a medical condition. I understand it was an attack. I'm not too sure about that, no? But they are all medical conditions. I would only ask everybody, not only journalists, to try and check your health as often as you can.
Matthew Ibrahim Babakwate was born to a Ghanaian father and a Sierra Leonean mother in the early 50s and was married with some children. The late court reporter will be missed for his accurate court reportage and will be remembered by the media fraternity in the country. SLBC News, Rose Konima Stevens.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. A recent survey has shown that 62% of lactating mothers do exclusive breastfeeding in Sierra Leone. According to reports, Sierra Leone made a significant progress from 59% to 62% within 3 years. Breastfeeding Week starts on Wednesday, 1st August 2018 with the theme Foundation of Life. Darren Barry reports.
Breastfeeding is baby's first vaccine that prevents health risk, cost-effective and creates a strong bond between mother and child. It should be done by the mother immediately after birth and should last for 6 months without substitute. As effective breastfeeding demands time and energy, fathers are encouraged to take extra share of household chores and child-rearing responsibilities. Director of Food and Nutrition Aminata Shamit Kroma described breastfeeding as a natural mineral without any waste that helps the child to be healthy and strong. She said that exclusive breastfeeding contributes to the well-being of mothers, help them to save monies, and the best practices of feeding a child.
First, when a child is born, that's the first thing that the child gets. Colostrum is full of antibodies. We've heard that it's the first immunization, it's the first maclate. It's God's maclate. And it is the most, breastfeeding is the most effective and affordable, natural and renewable resource of antibodies the world has ever known. It cannot be replicated. No matter how the breast milk substitute, no matter what they say, that cannot be replicated.
She said that by 2025, their aim is to increase the numbers of mothers that do exclusive breastfeed to 80%, calling on all to provide a safe environment for suckling mothers. UNICEF representative Dr. Hamid El-Bashir Ibrahim commended the Directorate of Food and Nutrition and the Ministry of Health for its tremendous efforts on the increase of suckling mothers. He said that having a baby-friendly environment will help the ministry meet its target by 2025. He calls for a strong legislation for the protection and promotion of exclusive breastfeeding, calling on the government to regulate the substitute for breast milk. Deputy Chief Medical Officer Amara Jambai said that exclusive breastfeeding demands a concerted effort and an enabling environment for suckling mothers. He reaffirmed his ministry commitment to protect systematic commercial pressure on marketing breast milk substitute. He called on partners to embark on massive awareness raising during the week-long breastfeeding week to protect and support optimal breastfeeding. Executive Director of Focus 1000, Mohamed Jallo, spoke about the importance of exclusive breastfeeding during the child's first 100 days. He encourages the men to support their wives by reducing their workload when they are doing breastfeeding. However, according to some lactating mothers, exclusive breastfeeding helps their children to grow healthy, warm, and cry less.
Because this is a connection between me and the kingdom. We are going to exclusively breastfeed our children. It's the best way to prevent our children from health risk, help strong bond with our children. We are advising other mothers to breastfeed, calling on them not to use substitute as a means of breastfeeding.
Government has said that come September 2018, the Free Education Initiative will be implemented. The free education package will include school fees, core textbooks, and feeding for government and government-assisted school children. But how prepared is government, teachers, and parents to implement the Free Education Initiative? Daphne Kema Macaulay takes a look.
Opening of Parliament, President Julius Maada Bio officially announced government's commitment to providing free education for primary to secondary school.
The primary objective of the new direction is to increase access to quality pre-primary, primary, secondary school, technical and vocational education and training, as well as university education that will enable them to engage in meaningful, productive economic activity.
Before the state's opening of Parliament, the Sierra Leone People's Party used the Free Education Initiative to campaign. It has been said by many Sierra Leoneans that the Free Education Initiative was one of the reasons why many Sierra Leoneans voted for the SLPP. In less than 2 months, a new academic year will start. How prepared is the ministry for the implementation of the free education in September? Brahma Michael Toure is the Public Relations Officer of the Ministry of Education. He said the Free Education Initiative is new but definitely would be implemented. The Public Relations Officer said the ministry has visited the regions to sensitize people on the implementation of the initiative. He said an assessment is being done to know the number of schools, children, teachers and assets owned by the ministry. Mr. Toure said this will help in knowing how many more teachers to employ and learning materials needed.
Total number of kids that we have at present, total number of teaching and learning materials available, if any, total number of teachers, both approved and unapproved. And so just capturing all of these things so that he would have a clear understanding of what would have to be catered for in this free education. So that is the preparation that has taken place behind the scenes, and we are far ahead of that. And the free education is going to be launched on the 20th of August by the President.
Senior Assistant Secretary, Sierra Leone Teachers Union, Augustine Karim, highlighted some of the things teachers will need to effectively run the Free Education Initiative come September. He said teachers are always prepared to teach and work with the Education Ministry to implement the initiative if some of their demands are met.
And when you look at the current conditions of teachers, which have lasted for a very long time in this country, the immediate things that the government has to do to ensure that the free education takes off successfully is to really pay some attention to the conditions of service of teachers, including their salaries.
President's Primary School is one of the government-assisted schools that would benefit from the Free Education Initiative. Esther Kago is the headmistress of the school. She said the free education is a good initiative, but a lot has to be done, of which construction of more classrooms is needed. To properly implement the free education initiative, some parents say the ministry and other authorities concerned should properly monitor the implementation. Mary Suma is a parent who has 4 school-going children. She said government should make sure the teachers stop asking for extra charges in school.
Free education. I
have mixed feelings because even if the free education is implemented, we will still be paying school fees because of the amount of money we spend on our children for extra charges.
The Public Relations Officer, Brahma Michael Toure, said the Education Ministry has engaged local authorities to monitor and also called on the media and civil society organizations to aid in monitoring the implementation. For SLBC News, Daphne Kema Macaulay reporting.
The Small Arms Commission has trained military officers from different battalions in the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces on the safety and protection of armories. The training, which was supported by the German Federal Foreign Office and Mines Advisory Group, capacitated military officers on how to manage and stock taking of ammunition. Doimbai reports.
Managing and keeping weapons from the wrong hands is one of the challenges facing many militaries in the world today. Weapons have landed in wrong hands who normally use them against unarmed civilians. The training is an effort to have a proper handling of weapons and ammunition to ensure they are kept in armories in order for them not to land on the wrong hands. Commander Joint Force Sule Ibrahim Sise described the training as a laudable venture in the drive to have arms kept in armories. He said the military personnel went through 3 weeks training on how to manage, take stock and monitor the use of weapons. He said that the skills and knowledge gained by the military personnel is coming at a time when they are committed to having a proper system on how weapons should be kept and handled. He commended the Small Arms Commission and its partners for capacitating the military. Commander retired Technical Field Manager from the Mines Advisory Group told his audience that the 3 weeks training was intensive and was a climax with an examination to test participant knowledge on the topics they were taught. He expressed assurance that the trained personnel are now in a better footing to protect and control weapons. A representative from the Small Arms Commission, Lieutenant Colonel Mbadi Sogo Bangura, said that the Commission has over the years supported the reconstruction of armories and the training of military personnel on how weapons should be handled and managed. He said that the training is part of the Commission's mandate to ensure an effective record system of how weapons are used, which was a challenge over the past years.
2 young Sierra Leonean students have become the first to make the first ever solar-powered tricycle in the country. The 2 innovators use recycled materials such as scrap metals and cables to build the unit, which is aimed at reducing the hassle on especially disabled persons as means of transportation. Suriba Samura reports.
This is just one of the latest innovations just by 2 students, young Sierra Leoneans, who have innovated and invented this tricycle, commonly called keke.
The latest innovation in Sierra Leone is a solar tricycle made by 2 students, Emmanuel and Andrew. It is a single-seater meant to facilitate movement of disabled persons within the city. The unit moves via a single chain connected to a 24-volt motor, reeling around 2 small ratcheted wheels, causing the whole unit to move. This tricycle has a seat belt, making it unique when compared to tricycles that have flooded the city. The 2 innovators, while in their workshop, explained to SLBC that through the effort of Kite Sierra Leone, they were able to get all 3 wheels free of charge from this organization.
One day, I was passing by in the capital city of Freetown. I see so many people with physical challenges going so many constraints. Some have their children behind, helping them to push forward for them to have their survival. When I research, some of them don't educate their children just because for them to have their daily bread. Others don't have children. They use their bare hands to pedal the speeds to move in a specific direction. So this thing come in my mind. I say, how can I help these people out?
The students made use of the scrap metals and cables acquired from spare parts dealers in the east end of Freetown to assemble the tricycle. Andrew recalls on his childhood life.
In that little form, which was not identified by then. It was until when I was in the high school, we used to attend some innovative competitions, and afterwards I started to benefit out of it. By then, I finally accepted innovation to be part of my life.
Emmanuel is the lead innovator. His mother, Melrose Kamara, expressed delight at hearing that her son has become the latest engineer in Sierra Leone.
This solar keke we make work here, child to perform, he made a make larger one.
I look forward to seeing Emmanuel make a better tricycle, which I can use in my business as a means of transport.
But when the solar there, you go able to move the keke with my business and with my partner there.
She recalled when somebody told her about his son's handwork, saying she is hopeful that someday her son could make a tricycle to help not only persons with disability, but one which could ferry her to and from the market. As the student engineers were going all out for the materials they wanted to have the solar tricycle up, Emmanuel and Andrew met Alusain Kagbo at Rokupa Junction, from whom they bought the additional bearings. He explained to SLBC that he was amazed to know that the two young men were up to something of national pride and interest. Ibrahim Sidibe also sells metal spears at Brimalane. He said he had no idea as to what these two young men were going to use the bearings they bought from his shop. The solar tricycle was publicly displayed during a talent show organized by the Flaming Bible Church in Freetown. Soriba Samura, SLBC News, Freetown.
Let's now join our international news desk.
Hello and welcome to International News with me, Wilmina Buku. Facebook has removed a network of suspected Russian-leaked accounts and pages involved in organizing political events in the United States. The network is the most extensive effort to interfere in American politics that Facebook has found and made public ahead of November's midterm elections. The move comes as part of Facebook's efforts to prevent a repeat of 2016, when accounts connected to a Kremlin-linked troll group posing as Americans ran rampant on its platform. Zimbabwe's ruling party has won a majority of seats in parliament, the Electoral Commission announced Wednesday, as the country braced for the first official results of the presidential election. The ruling ZANU-FP party won 109 seats, while the main opposition MDC party had 41 in the country's 2010 seat House of Assembly. The commission said 2 seats were won by smaller parties and 58 seats had yet to be declared. The commission said it would announce the results of Zimbabwe's presidential race, putting President Emmerson Mnangagwa against opposition leader Nelson Chamisa only after all the votes have come in from across the country. Congolese opposition leader Jean-Pierre Bemba returned home on Wednesday after a decade in prison in The Hague for a presidential run expected to pose a stiff challenge to President Joseph Kabila or his successor in December's election. Bemba, whose war crimes convictions at the International Criminal Court were quashed on appeal in May, touched down at Kinshasa's Gili Airport, where thousands of cheering supporters wore T-shirts, hats, scarves, and robes bearing his image. And also, a strong wind gust brought down an Aeromexico plane carrying 103 people in northern Mexico, leading to a ferry crash that left dozens aboard injured, but no fatalities, Durango state officials say. Aeromexico's flight 2431 was en route from Durango, Mexico to Mexico City on Tuesday when it went on a rapid descent moments after taking off, airline and state officials said. And the men whom authorities said fatally shot Serena and Venus Williams, older sister Yetunde Price, in 2003, was released from prison earlier this year, after more than a decade behind bars, people confirmed. However, it appears Robert Edwards Maxfield was rearrested on Friday night in Compton, California, and remains in custody after allegedly violating his parole, according to Los Angeles County Sheriff's officials and jail records. The nature of the alleged violation was unclear Tuesday night. And that's all coming to you on this media. This is International News from SLBC. Many thanks to my producer Anne-Marie Dubai and the rest of the production team. I've been Wilmina Buku. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
Watching news coming to you live from the Southern Broadcasting Corporation in Freetown. For the latest update in sports, let's now join Esther Marie Samura.
its sports updates on News Hour. In this edition, the All-African Youth Games has ended in Algeria, with Sierra Leone winning 1 medal, with the participation of the sporting disciplines, including wrestling, athletics, weightlifting, beach volleyball, and swimming. Over 30 countries across Africa participated in the event. Francis Bernard was part of it and now reports.
Sierra Leone enters in the 3rd African Youth Games in Algiers with 5 sporting disciplines, including weightlifting, athletics, beach volleyball, swimming, and wrestling. It was a fruitful outing for Team Sierra Leone, as the competition served as a training venue for first-time athletes, whose performances caught the eyes of the organizers and even sports officials. It was the beach volleyball team that started the show, with Sonny and Mohamed Bangura defeating Kenya, the Gambia, and Egypt, but failed to show up against Botswana in the qualifiers because of ill health of one of the players, Sonny Bangura. Sonny and Mohamed, however, qualified to the quarterfinals. Aissatou Ba and I Kadekaira, in their opening fixture, defeated Kenya by 2-1 in court 1. It was a tough encounter with Cameroon. Female team Sierra Leone, however, won by 2-1, but both the male and female teams were eliminated by Mozambique in the quarterfinals. In swimming, Joshua Wise came second in the 50-meter freestyle in heat 3 with a time of 29.71, but was unable to qualify to the finals. The only medal for Sierra Leone was won by Massa Jallow in the 69 kg category in wrestling. Massa fought against Algeria, Morocco, and Cameroon in the freestyle. The medal was, however, presented to the chef de mission, Unisadine Kagbo, since Massa had already left for Sierra Leone. Mohamed Kamara competed in the second heat of the 100 meters with a time of 11.27 and qualified to the semi-finals. He, however, failed to make it to the finals. Fatmata Sifoy and Tadi all could not qualify for the finals, but, however, improved on their personal timing. Some athletes could not take part in their respective events because they had already left the Games village due to their flight schedule. For SLBC News, Francis Bernard reporting.
And in football, the chairman of the football stakeholders, Idrissa Magotawali, has said they have dissolved with immediate effect the Aisha-led executive in their resolution presented to the Ministry of Sport at Bishop House in Freetown. This came following a just concluded football stakeholders SLFA Extraordinary Congress in Bo, where a vote of no confidence was passed on the said executive. Well, that's the latest update in sports. I am Esther Maisama. Thanks for watching.
For entertainment news, Lake Production on Saturday launched this year's National Entertainment Awards at the Quincy Nightclub, and a young talented musician, Pete Wheezy, released a new music video. For more on this, let's join our entertainment producer, Mohamed Kimilan Bangura.
Saturday, the 28th July, was a big day for stakeholders in the entertainment industry in Sierra Leone as they witnessed the launching and fundraising ceremony at the Queen's nightclub organized by the Lake Production. In his opening statement, the Master of Ceremony, Pastor Pete Dalton, reminded entertainment gurus at the ceremony that talents are born and some are nurtured, and stressed that there should be no blame game for the downfall of the entertainment industry in the country. He said inasmuch as there are true talented artists, so are some wannabes in the industry that just came in to achieve fame rather than take the entertainment industry as a business. In his speech, the CEO of Lake Production, Alhaji K. Tarawali, popularly known as Laj K, assured the public of a better and international style of this year's NIA Awards. Laj K also introduced the categories for this year's NIA Awards, varied from music, sports, movies, comedy, and humanitarian categories. The guest speaker, Mrs. Memunatu Pratt, the Minister of Tourism and Culture, said that her ministry is solely responsible for the entertainment in the country and pledged government support in promoting the entertainment industry. Last year's National Entertainment Awards DVDs were released on the market for the public to buy, and pledges for the DVDs were also made by the Minister of Tourism and Culture, the Minister of Youths, the All Stars President, Sidi Yaya Tunis, former Minister of Tourism and Culture, and some members of the general public. Side attraction from one of Sierra Leone's youngest talented singer, 6-year-old Xias Leonius the Genius, whose performance was above his age, and he performed the cover song Waiting by the late Amara Kaba. His version preached on peace and unity between the stakeholders in the entertainment industry. Other performer at the ceremony was a young upcoming singer, Pete Wizzy, whose real name is Philip Valcastle. Pete grew up in a musical home where he met all types of musical instruments, and this forced him to play the keyboard and guitar. Pete started his nursery in Freetown Teachers College and the Joaquin Primary School at Kingstown. He did his secondary schooling at the Albert Academy, where he sat to his WASC exams. Presently, he is a student at the Jala University College reading social work. Pete released his first single, Feel For You. Pete said that he wanted to make a mark in the field of entertainment in Sierra Leone, and he frowned on the ideology that entertainers are dropouts. Pete Wizzy has decided to release another new music video called Hustle, a song he said meant a lot to him.
Tell me why you the past last week to the cry. Now the sister they make with the cry. Every day with the same old lies.
On the release of his first album, he said his management will come out with a notice on that. Pete said the public should expect great songs from him, featuring artists like Star Z and Camouflage. He said he wished that the government would provide an auditorium for local stars to perform, and he also wished that all clubs in the country should play 90% of Sierra Leonean songs.
To end the news, the main points again. Ministry of Agriculture has held a pre-launch forum on National Tree Planting Campaign 2018. Recent survey has shown 62% of lactating mothers do exclusive breastfeeding in Sierra Leone, and 29 anesthetist nurses have completed a 18-month diploma course in anesthesia. That's all in this edition of News Hour. Our final edition of News Hour comes out at 9 p.m. Thanks for your company. My name is Ibrahim Samura.